Welcome to Napa Valley Inside Out. I'm Latife Hayson, and I am delighted to be hosting this podcast, shining a light on one of the most beautiful and coveted lifestyles in the world. If you're interested in developing a property, planting a vegetable garden, making olive oil, fashion, architecture, interior design, county rules and regulations, biking paths, art, getting into the wine business, farming practices, the tax benefits of owning a vineyard, or the ultimate private tours and tastings, and all the fabulous annual cultural events we enjoy here, and so much more, then you won't want to miss this show. Every week I will be interviewing amazing talent, vintners, entrepreneurs, leaders, consultants, event planners, and more. They will share their knowledge, experience, advice, goals, passions, and their best kept secrets. Hello everybody, we have Karen Caldwell of Karen Caldwell Designs in the house today. And Karen's going to be talking to us about fashion, Hollywood, and how Napa Valley inspires her designs. Karen, welcome to the show, and thank you for the beautiful earrings.
I think they look amazing on you, by the way.
Thank you.
I just want to let you know those look stunning, and you look fabulous.
Thank you. Feeling a little Hollywood-like to match you. So tell us the road to Napa Valley. When you first came here, I know before you were here, you were a stand-up comedian, and I believe your husband Oliver was as well. So tell us about that.
Well, I can't say I can professionally list that as my career, but I did some improv classes in San Francisco. We were both living in the city, and I did some open mics. Let's just say I did okay, but I don't have an HBO special with my name on it, so obviously it didn't go as far. Didn't go as well as I had planned, but my husband loves comedy, and he also did some fun comedy classes. And I think that's one thing that we love about our relationship is we really do love to laugh. And I think that's an important thing in life, to have laughter and happiness as much as you can find it.
Yes, that reminds me of one time I was running by your house and I stopped to talk to you on Zinfandel Lane when we were neighbors.
We used to be neighbors.
For a very long time.
Old friends.
And I remember you telling me everybody should do something creative in their life.
Absolutely. And there's so many things you can do, and think outside the box as well. People often think of painting or sculpture or music. There's things you can do that they're very creative, and you just have to find that little niche for yourself.
So you and Oliver are an amazing marriage of talent. It's unbelievable talent, from interior design, architecture, you own an art gallery, you've been in the wine business, you're a fashion designer, he's a fantastic musician and singer. How did you meet?
We met at the film premiere of a film called I Married an Axe Murderer. This is the true title. And it was at the Palace of Fine Arts in San Francisco, and we were introduced through a friend of his, a beautiful lady named Linda, and we met there initially, but I was dating somebody at the time, and I believe he was just busy with lots of things, so we just met, hit it off. I loved speaking to him. He was so fun to converse with.
He's interesting.
A very interesting
Super
man.
Interesting guy.
He's an art gallerist, and so it started off meeting, and then a few months later, meeting up again and running into each other, and that's where it all began.
So you were both living in San Francisco?
We were both living in San Francisco.
And then what was the road to Napa Valley? How did you make that transition?
Well, when we were dating, we were actually, on the weekends, would often come and play golf at Chimney Rock, which was a great golf course here. It's no longer there. The winery is still here, of course. And we would come up and stay the night and then drive back on a Sunday. And then what happened, we just thought, God, it'd be wonderful to own a piece of land here. And it was kind of in jest, and we weren't sure how committed we were yet, but we were pretty serious. And it was more in conversation. And what happened, we got married here at Meadowood. And the day before our wedding, my husband was using the pool at Meadowood and ran into a gentleman who's become a friend. And he mentioned this barn on a knoll overlooking vineyards. And my husband thought, that sounded pretty great. So instead of leaving for a honeymoon the next day, we went and looked at real estate with his family.
I love
All I remember is looking at it, and he and I doing a high five, and almost embarrassingly so, because the owner of the property was, we thought this is not going to make the deal work, because she realizes we're excited about it, and we won't get a good price. But we ended up getting a very good price. It was called Aida, the vineyard's name, after the owner, and we ended up raising our kids there for a while on weekends and living part-time in San Francisco. And we didn't realize it at the time, but the vineyard, Aida Vineyard, had a reputation of being an incredible wine.
Yes.
And so we ended up working with both Larry Turley, who's an amazing winemaker, and we ended up doing a few cases ourselves and got into the wine business. And it was really, it was a great trip. It was a great time in our lives.
And Chuck McMinn ultimately bought that.
Absolutely.
For Vineyard 29.
He did.
Yeah.
And he is one of the nicest men. Him and his wife, Ann, are the nicest people. And we're so lucky. They were so excited about the vineyard. And at the time, we had 2 small children. And we weren't sure where we were going. Were we staying in San Francisco? Or were we going to go up to the wine country more often? And so it came at the right time. And it ended up being a great thing, and certainly it changed our lives.
Very much so. So you were in you had the art gallery, Caldwell Snyder, in San Francisco.
Absolutely.
When you were living there and commuting up here.
Mm-hmm.
And you still have the art gallery down there, and then opened one here in St. Helena, which is absolutely spectacular.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yes, really spectacular.
Well, we sold the vineyard, but we didn't want to sell our dream of being here on weekends. And so we ended up finding another place on West Zinfandel Lane. And that's where we met.
You became neighbors.
She became my neighbor
for 10 years.
And it was wonderful and beyond. And we started building this beautiful home there and doing all the landscaping. And every time we go down Main Street with the kids to go somewhere, we'd see this for sale sign in the Star Building, which is this historic building on Main Street. And we always kid around, and we'd always say, "Oh, if that building comes up for sale, we're going to have to purchase it." Our family name's Star. Everybody in my husband's side of the family, their middle name is Star, including our son. So we thought that was funny.
Fantastic.
And what happened, it came up for sale. They didn't take our first offer, and so we thought, not meant to be. And I believe it went through 2 other escrows. But because of the retrofit coming up, which is pretty enormous piece of work, and financially, the other 2 deals blew out. And so we went back in and gave them the same offer, and they said yes.
And then I remember, because we were living on Zinfandel Lane then, that Oliver did the architecture for that. I mean, that building is absolutely exquisite. Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Such an amazing job on that.
It is a great building, and that's so nice you say that. That was a
stone building, beautiful. Absolutely
not
beautiful.
so much when we first bought it. We were convinced Jimmy Hoffa was buried under the floorboards. It had been a little neglected, and it was just old from 1900. So to fix it up was a dream for us, and
but
we were
it's
so happy.
Spectacular.
Thank you.
Spectacular,
you're
really.
So nice. Thank you, Latife.
And so when we were first friends on Zinfandel Lane, you weren't in the fashion business, and I remember how you started to slowly get into it. So tell us how that got off the ground.
Well, I love clothes. You can ask my husband. I'm a shoeaholic, purseaholic, and probably a dressaholic. But what happened? I'm a rather tall person, and I have long arms and long legs. So everything always had to be reevaluated and re-sewn to kind of work with me. And through the years, as I was little, I had the same problem growing up. Adding lace to the bottom of my pants because they were too short. And so I learned to sew. And as I got older, I loved vintage clothes, things from the past, especially 1930s up to the 60s.
Right.
And so I would always kind of create something and wear it sometimes. And I'd often have women come up to me and say, where did you get this outfit? Who is this? And I said, well, it's something I made. And it was great. It was nice to have a nice compliment on something you made. And it ended up morphing into something larger than I thought it would. And I love it. I love working with women. So my beginnings really start from a love of vintage, a love of creating something with a little bit of my creative energy in mind, and making women feel happy, making them feel good self-esteem. So that's where it began.
But your inspiration really came from your grandmother. Tell us about your grandmother.
I have Nana Carla. She was wonderful. My father's stepmother, actually, his real mother died when he was a young boy. And his stepmother, Carla, Nana Carla, which we called her, she lived in Hollywood since the late 20s. She was very avant-garde. She was very creative. She danced. She was a dancer and a pianist. But her biggest claim to fame was being a choreographer and a dance model choreographer for Walt Disney Studios. And she would also appear in films in the background as a dancer in MGM films and whatnot. And when we go to visit her where they lived near the Hollywood Hills growing up, she just would come out and get the front door open, and we would see her, and she always had the clip-on earrings, a beautiful blouse, and she always just took care of herself until the day she passed away. And I think seeing that always inspired me to always look my best, because when we'd go out with her, people would come up to her and compliment her on, oh, I love the way you did your hair, I love this color on you. And I also found that was a way for her to meet friends and meet new people, and I love people very much. And so I knew by having that little twist of doing things with your style and wearing a certain color and wearing a smile on your face.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that wearing a smile on your face and having a kind heart brings people into your life.
Oh, 100%.
So
yeah.
that's where it comes from, and she inspired me a lot.
I have a beautiful girlfriend. She's German, and she told me recently, I said, oh, you always look so beautiful, and so does your 2-year-old daughter. You're like fashionistas. And she told me that style never takes a day off.
No, and style never stops at the age of 50 either. I just turned 52 myself, and I do not mind getting old. I always think if you have an optimism about you and you're happy in general, aging is a wonderful thing. We tend to put a little bit of a dark cloud over aging. And I never wanted to be one of those women where we turn 50 and we're like, it's over. No, it's not over. It's the beginning of a great
new
decade.
30s. It's the new 30s.
It's the new 30s. And I think you should keep that going the rest of your life. We forget and we maybe sometimes stop taking care of ourselves.
Yeah.
I find this is the best
It's
decade
easy
of my
to
life.
get into the
so
sweats.
far.
Isn't it easy to
Exactly.
get into the sweats?
It is. In sweats, I do that every so often, of course. But dressing up is a lot more fun, I'd say.
So how did you transition from people coming up on the street and asking you, where did you get these beautiful clothes? So you obviously started making clothes. How did you get your first sale? I mean, what was the...
It was very awkward, because I have to tell you, I am not a good salesperson. I hate having to take money from somebody. And it's not like taking money, but you feel bad charging them, because they're so happy with what you made them. And but unfortunately, my accountant now is saying you can't quite do that all the time. You have to create a business. But there's a joy of making, especially a woman, because I grew up with sisters, and I just love women. I had a lot of women in my family growing up, lots of aunts. And I think what happened is it created this feeling. And so finally getting to the step where somebody wanted me to make them something, I felt, wow, I think this is going to be my new business and my new lifestyle. This is going to be great.
And so what was the first transaction? How did you do that?
Gosh, the
was
first
it
transaction.
Somebody in San Francisco?
I'm trying to remember. Well, it was funny because I never really sold things until a girlfriend, my dear friend Heidi Pettit, who reached out to some people in Hollywood and had a connection to the Oscars and Golden Globes, the people that attend those. And through that, and through some blogs that were written about me on recycling clothes, I love taking old clothes and reinventing them, using a little piece or a big,
there's the
large
vintage
piece.
thing again.
And recycling, or they call it upcycling. And there's
Upcycling.
such joy in doing that, making sure this thing is not thrown away, but is reused again, and somebody loves it. And she what happened is Livia Firth, Colin Firth's wife, who was doing the King's Speech at the time.
I remember this.
They reached out to me, and through that, I met the most amazing people through them. So what happened, the stylist in LA who works with all the big movie stars, Livia introduced me to her. And through that, I was able to receive so many wonderful, some opportunities to make clothes for movie stars, which was a dream. That was to see it being worn and a photo on the red carpet what have you. That to me was just, that was the
incredible.
best moment. And from there, people would see there was something in style on a dress I did on Jessica Chastain, and so I had several orders from that. And it was great, and I felt like, I've got a little business going on here. I better stick with
Incredible.
this. It was really fun.
So you started out in San Francisco, though. You started out dressing women in San Francisco.
I did. I had a lot of friends sometimes, and sometimes you find women that are quite insecure with themselves. It's often that a woman feels very insecure about her body, and you don't want women to feel that way. I think all women are beautiful, no matter what your style is or your size. But sometimes you need somebody outside of yourself to tell you what will help you a little bit more. And I find that I'm very good at that. And so I started dressing women, friends for free. It was basically dressing them up for events.
Right.
For me, it was just pleasure to see them wearing the dresses and wearing my costume jewelry, or seeing how I told them to do their hair a certain way.
They felt great.
They felt great
about themselves, And so I read in your bio that you like to dress women of all ages and all sizes.
I do.
Yeah, that's great.
My next goal is I'm trying to. I've got connections right now. I'm hoping that Helen Mirren is somebody I'm trying to reach out to. I think she's amazing. I think she's 75.
Incredible talent.
And she is still sexy and glamorous.
Oh, yes, she is.
I want to be her when I'm 75.
Oh, wow.
I tend to look towards older actresses, and that might come from my grandmother because she was older and always look her best. And I thought that was important. I thought that just made her feel good.
Yeah. And so tell us about some of the people that you, well, no, that's firstly, I wanted to talk to you about how Napa Valley inspires your designs.
When I moved here, I was living in a city, and we were lucky. We had a beautiful view of the bay. There was always color of the water blue and the sky and the trees, so there was always a little inspiration in San Francisco. But as I moved to Napa Valley and our views were vineyards, I noticed that we actually have 4 seasons here in California, and you don't really see them sometimes. No, because we don't have snow or the extreme cold. And so I started seeing the oranges and raspberries. The vineyards would turn as they were going through their fall season, losing their leaves. You know, everything, the sky turned a different color. And I would find colors in there that I would just want to go find a fabric that was that color. And it gave me an idea for color. And then summer would come, or spring, for example. Mustard comes in. It's the most vibrant yellow. It's, you know, mustard yellow.
Gorgeous.
And so I made a dress that was mustard yellow. And so beautiful.
Love that.
And I love old movies. Old movies to me, they always had a costume designer specifically for the actors and actresses in the film. And with that, I knew I always wanted to have an idea of what the scene looked like and who the person was, and I create something that's one of a kind for them. So Napa Valley, I just have to say the beauty and the lifestyle really helps me create things.
And then how do you create for Hollywood? Let's talk about, who are some of the people that you've dressed for the red carpet? Let's start with that.
I've been very fortunate. I mean, Jessica Chastain, who's not only nice, but is absolutely beautiful. And she's got gorgeous, gorgeous red hair and beautiful green hazel eyes. She's beautiful.
Oh, stunning.
And there's just something about her, and she's genuine. She's very nice. And so I knew, first off, I thought red, green. I got to do a green dress for her, so I did that. And then the stylist reached out for other looks. And this was when she was doing the movie The Help. So through the stylist, she thought, whoa, Viola Davis is in this film. I'd like you to dress Viola. So I did a beautiful one-shoulder dress for Viola Davis. She's amazing. Beautiful figure, by the way. But she's so beautiful and a nice person as well. And I did a red on her. There's many shades of red. We can't just say red because there's several
orange,
shades.
red, blue, red.
Exactly.
Many shades.
I did a poppy red on her, and it was just exquisite. And she looked beautiful. Other people I've dressed. Kristin Davis, Sex and the City. Our beautiful Charlotte York, who was, Charlotte on the Sex and the City show. I've dressed her a couple times. I've had so many good things happen through all these celebrities that I've done, and in fact, other people in politics. I often work with people that work on the film, that are the females behind the film, such as Spotlight.
Oh, really?
They won the Oscar for Best Film.
I saw
and
that.
The 2 producers, the female producers, reached out to me because they don't do red carpets. It's not common. They do more the work side.
But when they were going to win, they needed to have something beautiful to wear.
Exactly. So I work with them for their Golden Globes and their Oscar looks, and it was so much fun.
Well, you've made major inroads down in Hollywood.
It's been fun. I hope there's more to come.
Yeah. So how often are you down there?
I'm seeing myself going down there more. I'd say once every 5 months. I mean, twice every 4 to 5 months. I'm down there at least twice, 3 times within that 5-month period. But now I'm going to hopefully be doing some more with another stylist. So I hope to be down there once a month if I can, maybe twice a month.
Fantastic. And you're still doing quite a few dresses for San Francisco. I know you're a part of the ballet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love the arts. I mean, in a world that's so crazy right now, we've got a lot of negative news out there. And I think if you can escape through the arts, whether it's music, painting,
all of us,
dance, opera, what have you, I think that's always an important thing that I'll always support are the arts.
Yeah. Oh, well, you guys are surrounded by art and culture all the time.
Part of us.
Wonderful events that you host at the Caldwell Gallery for the community. It's fantastic.
We try.
And so you like working with women over 50. Tell us about that.
I do, because I remember growing up, and I've always had a pretty nice self-esteem. I had great parents. My mother and dad are like they're the Ozzie and Harriet.
Aww.
They're the sweetest, and so my father was always good about giving a compliment to my 2 sisters and myself. And my mother was always supportive. You could talk to her about anything. So I was very lucky. And I think sometimes when you don't grow up with that kind of support system, you tend to have self-esteem problems. Not always, but I think it is an indicator about your relationship with your parents. And what happened is I found that having that background helped me work with women that are insecure a little bit about what they're doing. I have a positive approach to things because I know it's going to look good on them.
Right.
And they feel so confident, I guess, with my
because
you
taste, make people feel confident.
I try, and I'm almost like I like to call myself the cool aunt. I come in and I treat them almost like a daughter or a niece, and I try to get them in the right direction of how to do things. And when we get a little older, we kind of downgrade ourselves by each decade.
Right.
20 years old, yes, I'm 20.
Yeah, you're so excited.
30, you start going, oh God, 30. You know,
I'm a dinosaur. I have to have a baby by the time I'm 32.
Yes, oh my God, I'm not married or have children. 40 comes around. Ooh, that's a little tricky. See, I never bothered me because I'm just kind of a happy person. And then 50 comes around. I remember that was like, I started going, wow, 50, wow. And then I realized, oh, I feel pretty good. Hip hasn't gone out yet, so I'm in a good place here. I feel like it's just important to keep being excited and evolving. Just never stop evolving about being happy, about growing old.
Now, do you ever see yourself moving to Hollywood, down to LA?
Well, if the offer is right, I could definitely do part-time because I still love it here so much. Yeah. So I would definitely have to do something where it works with a schedule where I can come home.
Do you think you could talk your husband into moving down there?
I think he'd probably love it. Oliver likes the fact that I've worked with celebrities, and I've worked in a little bit of TV and film, and I think he's excited about it. So
I'm going to have a really hard time getting him on the show. I know. I told him. He said I'm coming, and then when I ran into him at the gym, he says, "Oh, my wife, she's so much more interesting."
Oh, yeah. I don't know about that.
I know. He's backpedaling. He's backpedaling. So let's talk about the gallery.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
So. Tell us who your most recent artists that you have on display there.
We have so many, but my husband, it's actually his business.
Yeah.
I've dwindled in it a little bit, but I've really focused on raising kids and doing my business.
Right.
But I've always been involved, and we have so many great artists. I mean, one of my favorites is Matt Rogers. I mean, he's one of our amazing artists, and he lives here, and so we get to see him quite often, which is great. And a lot of our artists, though, most of them have been coming from Europe. And so when we travel to Europe,
I was going to say, this is what you guys do. But you actually go and source artists. Like, as long as I've known you, you two have gone to the coolest places all over Europe.
We'll go anywhere. We're easy.
You find these artists that are not famous, and then you make them famous. I mean, they're so talented.
Well, it's funny. I mean, we've gone anywhere from going to a very small town in Oaxaca, not knowing anything, but just hearing about artists being there, and not knowing who to introduce ourselves to, and then show up at an art and craft store going, who do you think is a good artist in town?
Oh,
and it's the man that sells the paint. And he'll go, well, go see this guy. And from there, they recommend artists or what have you. We found some of our greatest Mexican painters through doing that.
Oh, I know.
And so we're very lucky.
And the same with Argentina, too. And
that's one place I haven't been yet, but I think that's the next trip,
Where did you guys go? Was it Cuba? No.
We've been to Cuba.
Cuba, that's right, yeah.
We just got back from an incredible trip to the Netherlands, Germany, Italy, and met some amazing new artists that are currently going to be shown very shortly. So we're very excited.
Very, very, very cool. And so is Oliver enjoying the journey still with art? Yes.
I think a few years back he was getting a little burned out because we had kids and they were very young, and at that age, it's a lot of demand for your attention.
Yes.
But now that our kids are a little bit older now,
you guys are sneaking off.
We can sneak off by ourselves now and travel for a month.
It.
We're very lucky. So nothing against my children because I love them so much, but it is nice for mom and dad to have a nice vacation, just the two of us.
So tell me, where do you make your gowns?
I make them all here in Napa Valley.
Is it just gowns or?
No, I venture out. I almost can do anything now because I've been doing this for so long. I work with a wonderful lady, my dear friend Anna, and she's here in St. Helena. So literally, she is right down the street from us.
I know Anna. Anna used to have a place in Yountville.
She used to have a beautiful bridal store in Yountville, and then she ended up becoming my lady that helps me. She helps me create a couple of the looks, and then mainly does the seamstress work. And she's incredible, and she's become one of my best friends. She's so nice. Her and I just laugh. We just laugh a lot. She's great.
Well, you've been working so closely for so long.
She's great.
So, do you have gowns on the rack? I mean, are you just make as you?
I work probably the most craziest way, because it's probably not financially the sound way to start a business, but I will travel. I'll go to Morocco. I was there a couple of years ago and found fabrics at the bazaar in Fez. And it was crazy, but I found fabrics there. I just take them home, have no idea. Exactly. Yeah. All handmade, and I had no idea what I was going to make with them, but I knew if I didn't get them, I was going to kick myself.
Right.
I will buy fabric. I have so much fabric stored in my garage, but I'm waiting till the right thing comes.
But is it, so people come to you and say, I'd like you to make me a gown. You don't actually have anything on the rack available at all. You make...
I have some things I can try on, and I'll show, and then they'll get photos on my site and see the styles, but what happens, they feel confident, and I'm glad that is the case, but they feel confident to ask me, what do you think I should wear? And that's a great thing.
Yeah. And so do you see yourself ever having dresses, a shop front, or
I'm not sure if I'd like a
available?
shop.
No.
No, I think
online.
I would like to be in a store. That would be great, but that would require a lot more business side of what I do.
Yes.
And I'm not very good at the business side. I have too much fun.
You have too much fun.
I need somebody that's maybe a type A person.
Then you're going to take a lot of the fun out, right?
I think that side of me
once it becomes a business.
Exactly. And so I think the way I do it now is so much fun. But if I had a wonderful person or persons that would be interested, I would definitely take that seriously. Because it would be fun to be in some stores.
Yeah, but I think right now you're just having way too much fun. And you know what? You don't have to worry about all of that. Yeah.
No, and I still want my kids are still at home, and my husband. So really the priority is really home, family. But certainly I'm seeing myself become less and less needed at home because my children are 20 and 18 now. I still call them children, but
they are.
They don't need me as much.
Yeah, they're still always.
They still
when they're 40 and 60, they're going to be your children, right?
Exactly. They still will be my little boys. But certainly, I find myself having a little more time. So I would love to do that next chapter. I really would.
So I ask everybody this at the end of the show. What are some of the changes that what year did you come here?
We came here, we moved here officially at January 1996.
Oh, you were 5 years before me. So what are some of the changes that you've seen? I mean, wow, it's been
a lot of changes. But you
over
know what,
20 years, yeah.
It's funny though, a lot of people in this community don't like growth. And I understand that. It's beautiful, natural environment. I mean, obviously agriculturally based. But I think the biggest thing is things do evolve, and you do need a little change as the years go by. If anything, I think that the only thing I really see that's changed quite a bit is just I think there's more wineries out there, but there's some amazing wine being made. So you've got great people that are very excited about being in the wine business. So it's become, I'd say there's a larger population of great wineries. And certainly more interesting people may be visiting the Valley.
Isn't it amazing?
Because it's created itself, it's this reputation.
Incredible, yeah.
Exactly.
And so if you look into your crystal ball for the next 10 to 20 years, how do you see, what do you visualize Napa Valley looking like, lifestyle, over the next 10 to 20 years?
It's funny because I own an historic building on Main Street, and so I've seen the photos of it since 1900 it was built. So you see all the changes. You know, at first it was a train that went down the street, like a small train. Then it became horses and carriage, and then 1900, you know, cars started becoming more available and affordable. So you see the cars. It was a dirt road, Main Street, Highway 29.
Amazing, right? Actually, believe it or not, everybody, St. Helena used to look like Calistoga.
It did,
Calistoga,
exactly.
I've been saying for 12, 15 years, I'm so bullish on it. Wait and see what's going to happen up there.
And that'll change too.
Yeah.
But, you know, change needs to happen in every evolution.
Yeah.
But there's things that remain the same. Living in a small town or living in the valley, we have open land. I find that the people are very nice here, and I think that never really quite goes away, because I think they're happy because they see beauty, they see nature, and, well, you can't beat wine and cheese.
And nobody's tooting their horns. And
no, there's not. I don't see a lot of that. I mean, I'm sure there may be a few out there, but the people we've known and grown to love here as friends.
Oh, in the restaurants they know you, or the postmaster goes, Latife.
I know.
Somebody sent you mail to a such and such address. Do you want us to bring it over to you?
They all know you.
I love that.
Exactly.
Yes,
if somebody gets ill, the whole town shows up. And there's certainly something beautiful about...
That's in the Up Valley more than Napa.
I would think so.
Napa's a big country town,
It
right?
is, you're right.
Yes.
Napa's definitely larger. There's definitely been more of a swing here, upswing of new places to go. But St. Helena still holds its charm in some ways.
Oh no, it does, yeah, and it's certainly held its values, that's for sure.
It certainly
and
has.
so many great restaurants. And
I know, we're very lucky.
We're so blessed to live here.
We are.
It's a very idyllic lifestyle, and crime is so low.
We have a police log here at St. Helena Star, and it's the funniest thing you'll ever see because there's no serious crime.
I wrote about that in this month's newsletter. My parents used to worry about me, and I'd send them the police log. It's like, Mom.
And it's very funny.
It's like the only thing is like a stray car is in the driveway, or a fight broke out.
Or your
in the middle of
neighbor's
an
dog
argument.
is barking, and you would wish that they would quiet down the dog.
Unbelievable. Where in the world?
Exactly. So we're very lucky. So I hope Napa Valley continues on this pace of bringing beauty and a passion for people that come and visit it and also live here.
Oh yes, so many interesting people.
I love seeing people that come here and they're so excited to be here.
I know.
Very lucky.
Very, very happy to be here, and I'm so happy to have you on the show. Thank you
for having
so
me.
much.
This is really fun.
Thank you. It was great.
Okay, well I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. You can find more episodes of the show on my website, latifehayson.com, or on my social media pages on LinkedIn, Instagram, and my Facebook page, Latife Hayson Wine Country Properties. We have a stellar lineup of movers and shakers in the Valley coming on the show, so I look forward to being with you next week and introducing you to another one of my fabulous guests.